Various Connecticut police departments, including Weathersfield Police, have switching names in wire crimes, with courts that also switch names in overt criminal enterprises and their roles with a whole bunch of different countries on and off Central Connecticut State University, on off Trinity College, on off Quinnipiac University, on off UConn. They have roles planting fake conversations with people in databases at medical campuses like the Institute of Living on the campus of Harvard Hospital, founded in 1822 with slavery still in North America and South America. Rather than have that clear in people's minds, we have criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions, rots, takes on the sciences. This affects people with the nature of debate, fake and pretending other, and tactically delusions rot. So they're complaining about my post with the Blaze TV. They're interviewing Alex Jones, who's making conspiracy theories. And he has roles with the courts that have been switching names, and with child offender or principal child abuser has roles with names that Sandy Hook, who had roles enforcing that. Sandy Hook, there's a prison there too. All kinds of medical, all people from Pakistan, people from Italy, people from different countries, all kinds of people tied to there's an Omni place in Weathersfield on the South Stein Highway, and names next to it. Increasingly, people tied to a Phil Cololo have been affected confessions to me, and he pretended to know me to my parents behind my back too. My mother didn't want to do business with him. She told him no because she got a feeling like it was not right. This guy and his cousins have roles with a whole bunch of people on my street and with himself. I only saw him on my street one time after a Bob Chase brought him up with confessions. Bob Chase was supposed to read a police report to me. He reported that Phil Cololo was involved with it. He wouldn't read it to me. These are people tactically delusions raw, criminally foreign influence with whiting forensics. When I was a kid, they had roles with the same house with predicate acts, federal evidences, crimes with them. A Judge Smith and a Judge Killian have been speaking fake things into records. This is also a house, and their cousins, like the cousins of a Phil Cololo, involved with the names next to Hartford Hospital, like Tomorrow's Market Through Time and Iolo's Kitchen. They have roles with various natures of federal evidences, crimes with the Mayor Gold and his family, names on off parks that have been planting evidences. They take a picture of people next to each other and they have a conversation with each other. Increasingly, Central Connecticut State University was this recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed by people in my third grade class, in the third grade class next to mine. In other words, they make statements when you walk by. So Central Connecticut State University has been planting evidences with people intercities and intercampuses through time. Increasingly, there's a Ray Cololo and his father, Ray Cololo, involved with unions, with planting evidences where we have the right to lie, where they use it where they don't have the right to lie. As time collusions at corners of buildings, people tied to them. People from Trinity College, increasingly, he confirmed this, demonstrated this true. I didn't even have to ask them. They recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed that there's a Joe Aiello and a Ray Cololo involved with Joshua Stryker, had fake conversations lied about himself with me, and fake conversations, fake ties to me, and lied about himself too, to a Dean Alford. And they've been telling lies to me to people tied to the three spots at the end of the Burlington Turnpike. And girls, in other words, other girls tied to them, they lied to them. They have something to do with intelligence on off the state of Connecticut, judicial branch offices, and the houses and businesses next to it. Like Enzo Fienza has roles with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso, with confessions and federal evidences, crimes on Facebook, and confessions tied to a detective Dylan. And he has a guy who said he was his partner, who was planting evidences at campuses I went to. And with his family that he said was down the street. He said to my speech class, they also pretended I had conversations with them as a kid at the police department, never were. And as an adult, that's why they're blocking people's posts and lying about what they think about it on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. They have more obscure pictures on Twitter tied to the Alex Jones people with the FBI and with the name Ian involved. Also, neighbors of an Ian, I don't know his last name, up the street from me. He has ties to a John Mariano and to a Jennifer Kenneth involved interstates with medical corruption at medical locations, sticking fake conversations in there. So you have investigators since founding with black pupils, whites of eyes, but they left that out because they're criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw because of what that caught them doing with the schools. So they have Alex Jones allowed to go up there and make conspiracy theories, regardless if he's intelligence or what he is. I don't know him, but he's tactically delusions raw, criminally foreign influence, not following mandated law with the Sandy Hook Promises people. I'm not going to go beg them. They're on there, including the people that put them with advertisements. They have on off the state capitol. They have recorded rolls with names associated with them. Even the lawyer of Robert Cheverett, the lawyer Robert Luskin, former director of the FBI, former standing chairperson of the Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organization Act, time collusions with overt criminal enterprises, plural, on and off campuses. And they even use the difference between public schools and private schools they involved with this. Increasingly, they have a religious spot. St. Anthony's Church next to Fox Connecticut News is involved with Fox Connecticut News with predicate acts with Thaddeus Grabowski, one of the co-defendants, a former director of the FBI, and with other people leading up to a 2006 district court case in Connecticut. And since, as ones who were also leading up to the World Trade Center in that context, and since, and next to it, like the Ninth Circuit Court right next to the World Trade Center towers. They have roles with the people on the World Trade Center towers, in the court next to it. Both sides of cases are not just there. These are people who do this intercities. They have both sides of cases in the interbranch planting fake things at the same time. And the breaching method uses that because they have to pretend they had integrity. They had to pretend they could speak for the law anyway. It shows them they have to hide lie progressions. There's a Brian Silver who's one of the ones involved with prosecutors and judges and their family members at the Britain Superior Court and then Connecticut's District Court. Also, people, the families of Harper courts and the Britain Superior Court affected confessions to me about their roles in West Hartford, planting evidences with FBI Director Robert Luskin and co-defendants of his and people that work with the courts that are also personally and professionally involved with a Dean Judd and his family members, his kids, are involved, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with federal evidences, crimes, identity theft, fraud, they forced Saudis to collusions with them before the World Trade Center attack. The same names associated with that, like people with the name Scalora, they had roles in the World Trade Center attack next to it, and with the names on all sides of the cases, and the case next to it. It was proven after the World Trade Center attack in the Ninth Circuit Court next to the World Trade Center the day of the attack. The legal papers that have been presented to the panel of judges had been post-dated from inside the court. That proven led up to a 2006 district court case, which was his recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, connected to people next to Fox Connecticut News who have been planting evidences against me through time. Next to WFSB is increasingly involved with intelligence, involved with wire crimes with them too. So they have wire crime acts and methods, then they pretend play stupid. So focus on the predicate acts I noted, like switching names and fabricating evidences with child offenders, leaders, of kids. Let's get them on paper, one name in sequence. Don't forget, WFSB attached me to fake conversations with them. And they attached me to fake conversations with other people at the same time. And so they want to have simple conversations. They pretend they don't understand people. They brought up all these different people and names. Then they want to pretend they don't understand. Fix the fake conversations they have with people. Fix the fake news. The news predicate acts. Fake news is an understatement. See, these are criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions wrought. And WFSB also forced Saudis that I don't know the names of. And my Saudi friend to collusion with them. Also WFSB, also Whiting Forensics did that also. They have governors and ties to governors involved also. Also, Maine, where the Governor Malloy went to work at Maine University, they have roles of all kinds of people with where they run it. They across the country they run in to hide lie progressions as patients and criminals, and the people that work there to hide lie progressions at the same time, using tricks. By being in the same place at the same time and saying things, it makes it look like people had responded to them, had conversations with them. They scream things out and then pretend the other people did. They do things like that. So there are doctors at Hartford Hospital that are preventing me from communicating with doctors, because before I can communicate with a doctor, I need to get myself off the fake conversations with the Leahy family of doctors and the ones tied to them, foreign domestic, the ones they forged the names of, whole fake transcripts with me through the mail they pretended. Now there's a Judge Smith that spoke fake things in the records with them, and there's retired and standing prosecutors. There's a prosecutor named Salisbury. There's a Brian Silver, and there's a whole bunch of men and women that work with Hartford courts and with New Britain Superior Court who have recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed involved with their family members in intimate ties, like a Justin Klobinskis, Eric Burgess with the military, also with a Mark Violet involved with UConn, with medical families, planting evidences, people that aren't even the same class as them. They're putting fake things in databases, fake ties, fake natures of ties. They're planting evidence in how other people ask, and they're repeating what they said. They said fake. It's also neighbors of a Mark Violet, like a Joshua Julian, recorded on the Facebook page of the principal child abuser, forcing them with some Confederate flag themed, KKK themed, black themed, and people planting evidences with a Joshua Julian. Also rolls with home break-ins with people tied to him that confessed him involved with it years ago. And then with his language on Facebook demonstrated he has roles with that. So he has identity theft, fraud, slanders against me. Also, people I don't even know, like a Ron on the one and only Ron typing on YouTube. So also with Joshua Julian is one of the ones who typed in comments on YouTube. Ray Collo is one of the ones who typed in comments on YouTube. These are also people involved with Secret Service and a gun threat against me the day before the president was shot. And I had been noting the Secret Service involved because the Central Connecticut State University has Secret Service involved. A Blue Trails shooting range and other shooting ranges associated with people with the name Kerr, DeMoro, and Cololo. They have roles with federal evidences crimes with the Hartford courts and the Britain Superior Court and Wethersfield Police on my street and where they live with their neighbors. Increasingly, state police families associated with Eric Jensen, his families and neighbors have whiting forensics with federal evidences crimes on all sides of my house and with the Cololo family /IES, who has roles with all kinds of falsified police reports since I was a kid. Judges speaking things in records because they have roles they have collusions with their family members, and the family members of some judges that have intimate ties with each other, and they have that. One thing about the interbranch family members, the guys involved, the girls and that they have relationships with identity theft, fraud, slanders against others that they don't even know. They just that's, in other words, that's how they are lifted, by making up fake ties and natures of ties to other people. A Rick Cian Paglione recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed years later too. In other words, he's been rolled since he was in grammar school with federal evidences crimes from other classes. I never had a class with him. The only class I had with him was in middle school with a teacher. We had no communications. That teacher put fake things in the evidence classes with them, people tied to them. Mr. Neville has something to do with the intelligence with Cromwell, Connecticut, all along Route 3, and with people with Vermont involved with Vermont, Maine, involved in interstates. These are people with Washington, D.C., involved with 2 speech class teachers I had, with names on off the state corrections offices, increasingly involved with predicate acts with people with the name Cololo and DeMoro and ties to them. Lance Cuddy is one of the ones that a Wethersfield teacher confessed, recorded, demonstrated, confirmed. Years before, they took her picture in the news as one of the ones who faked and changed what was recorded on Facebook with the principal child abuser, Forrest. And she lied about me to my teacher, repeating fake things that others told her. And with a former Mayor Gold and his family and people tied to him are increasingly involved with federal evidences crimes and fake ties and fake natures of ties to me. And with people on off the sides of the parks that have been planting evidences. That's one of the things they do. Where they make confessions too. How they make confessions by planting evidences, federal and fake motivations for it. They pretend things are kids' things. It's important to get the interbranch onto name. They forge names and switch names. So Judge Napolitano, I've been prevented of getting a response from him too. I asked you guys many times because Judge Napolitano's Facebook page is involved because Fox News is involved with WFSB, fake conversations with me. And there's stories where you call them on the phone, they're not going to let you talk about anything. They pretend they don't know what you're talking about and hang up. And they hide it. They have, in other words, they're not legitimately just going from story to story. These are a certain type of person they're keeping as criminal insidiousness natures in play and pretending others simultaneously. And then making opinions about others dishonestly and tactically delusions raw. So you guys gotta have delusions that can help you delineate. I'm not even a doctor. See that Rob that there's a the real Ron something on YouTube is one of the ones with the people I know on YouTube, like Anthony Yagman and his neighbors and family members, a burger, and I don't know his other brother's name. And in other words, they have roles with planting evidences, like, and Anthony Yagman has roles with a Mike DeMaine, who's one of the ones on Fox Connecticut News, and involved with Jonathan Mayano planting evidences as one of the neighbors of a Mazzucato family, like near them. And Mazzucato family is one of the ones. A Mazzucato family is married reportedly to a Jessica Cintron, a retired police chief Cintron, James Cintron. He's involved with predicate acts on my street, and it has something to do with the people involved with them, with like an Oliveri family and a Ray Colo have roles with the corner of, since years before his family was at that corner, Mazzucato Bakery, at the corner of Elm Street and Route 3. Ray Colo and Eric Oliveri had federal evidence crimes also with people with the name Violet and ties to them with the corner of Elm Street and with corners on Elm Street, but the corner of Elm Street and Route 3. These are also people at the corner of Route 3 and Elm Street in Wethersfield too. I was referring to the Newington, the Rocky Hill one. These are also people with Newington police families, with and as Newington police families, who are also increasingly involved in intercities planting evidences, has something to do with their roles. Jonathan Mayano made up things about himself and me to people with Mortenson's ice cream in Newington. And there's a Kerr family, and there's a DeMoro family, a Colo family, and there's people with the name Casper and tied to them who planted evidences at that part in Newington through time. Fake ties, fake natures of ties to me, with the former Mayor Gold's family too, and people from other classrooms who were putting things in my class, who have roles with putting fake things in class. Everyone has fake things put in databases against them for little tricks. In other words, and uses of confessions are involved because people are increasingly communicating other than they say. So the Wethersfield police refused to get on paper. Since I was a kid, they've been fabricating police reports as collusions with names at crime scenes and overt criminal enterprises, time collusions with them on off campuses. They are not legitimately unmarked police forms. They are not legitimately with stories on Church Street in Old Wethersfield with acting coaches, acting professors who are involved with the Heather Hansen recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with rape communications. Even if she made that rape confession or what, tied to Joe DeMoro as one of the Wethersfield police. And there's as one of the police forms involved. And there's also others with the name Joe DeMoro who planted evidences on the sides of that roles planting evidences on all sides of the Wethersfield Community Center has something to do because there's a Subby Bajerio who's also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, tied to women like that knew my name, that used to go out with him. In other words, they have the intelligence community next to Central Connecticut State University in New Britain, Connecticut. I never saw him on the inside of the campus in my life, Subby Bajerio. I only know him when I met them, like I was like in junior or in high school or sophomore. And in other words, I think I did know them one time before that. But in other words, barely know them. They're planting evidences. So a sub-Ibajero has roles with the principal child abuser in Weathersfield, and with women and kids tied to him, and ones that used to be in the past intercities. There was time collusions intercities with names next to Central Connecticut State University. Central Connecticut State University has name switching and forging with people associated with the former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and the courts and their sources. There's a detective, Samuda, who's involved with black, white, female judges, with identity theft fraud, some KKK black themed, Latino themed, and intercultural and interreligious spot themed fakes who grew up lying about themselves and others, including to their intimate ties. Fake ties and fake natures of ties to other people they don't even know. Increasingly has something to do with their roles all along Route 175 too, not just all along Route 3, all the way into Cromwell, through Rocky Hill, Weathersfield. They have federal evidence, there's kinds of people there, and the conjunctions to it. So it's important to get them on paper, one name and sequence, and get them from the lying about what they think about when I speak. That's why I just get them on paper. I'm the one who wants privacy more than them. They're making up fake things. I have to speak about child offenders and tell them little kids and their families. I don't want to do that. I just want them on paper, one name and sequence. Let's go for the principal child abuser's confessions to me. They hid that by fabricating and changing digital evidences. And they made, phone conversations, and they pretended it was digital communications. They faked it. And the communications I did have digitally, they hid that and then never responded. And the other ones, they lied about what the nature of our communications, while their tactical delusions rot, switching names, forging names. You have some real fake punks. Well, it's easy for someone with a whole bunch of guns next and people next to them, and they're all fakes together, to play tough guy. You have some fake tough guys, like with the news and with their social media, with the Facebook page of Weathersfield Police, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, further involved with the Facebook page of the principal child abuser's campus. So I fear God to hide and plot with them. Weathersfield parents, get me on who disbelieves. Give me the name of one of the parents who disbelieves too. Because, that's fine. It's nothing personal. They make the people fight with everyone around them too. That's recorded too. You fear God for attaching little kids to little fake conversations. They attached me to fake and changed communication with my parents since I was a kid, and with my neighbors. Fake ties to them, fake natures. They weren't even at all. They painted themselves in corners. These are ones involved leading up to the World Trade Center attack with their cousins too, ones that lived near me, that were right next to the World Trade Center that day. They have collusions with the names on all sides of the cases. They don't even know it to the extent, because everyone's attached to fake words by other people for them. And that proven about the post-dated legal papers inside the court next to the World Trade Center the day of the attack. Someone from inside the court post-dated it to appear late to the panel of judges. That was proven after the World Trade Center attack. That led up to a 2006 district court case with former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and his co-defendants also on all sides of that case too, involved with predicate acts against me. They've been attaching me to fake words about legal cases, fake conversations completely about it. With increasingly, there's a Brendan Leahy and people associated with a Rick Ciampaglione, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. There's a John Maiano and a Tim O'Brien involved with a Ray Kalal on my street, with predicate acts with them, sequence shifts, fake ties, fake natures of ties to me. And the timing of when I knew John Maiano, he begged me to let him drive me to school after my car there's proof it was tampered with too. So increasingly, a whole bunch of people in the Britain Superior Court involved with a Ray Kalal, Timothy O'Brien, Andrew O'Brien, their family members, their extended family members. There's extended family members of O'Briens that used to live on my street who are involved with Sandy Hook campuses, and the confession made to me there. So they do, they don't follow mandate law. They prevent writing. This is worse than extortion, because I can't do anything until I get this taken care of. I've been asking you guys every year since before the World Trade Center attack. The courts affected confessions to me, and the people I found out was the FBI and his depositions. Usually, when a court's involved with the deposition of an FBI director, it's from inside a prison. But this was a pro se civil RICO suit, Civil Racketeering Influencing Corrupt Organization Act. So with a local 230 has increasingly too ties to a Joe DeMora with Weathersfield Police, wire crimes, false flag police reports, rules, crimes with child abuses, as rules with rape confessions, and confirmation, because John DeMora is also involved with rape threats. Rape confessions. I thought it was made up. But in other words, his neighbors are also involved with their educators through time, with identity theft, fraud, slanders, speaking fake things about other people. Federal evidence is crimes. I don't even know all their names. People associated with with Valley Crest in Weathersfield, Connecticut, and streets off of it. There's a and these are also sexual circles with the family members of probate judges, because probate courts are with elderly homes, and they are with veteran homes, and they are with jails, and they are with hospitals, and they're speaking fake things in records, and they're tactically delusions raw. All kinds of scams with them and their family members, time collusions with overt criminal enterprises, plural, and private ones. So they have real nerve blocking my post, and that's the second time I had a warning about my post. That one, at least another one, was like nothing. They're trying to take people's accounts away to prevent speech. The Facebook page of the Weathersfield Police Department has roles with the Facebook people. Like there's a Celeste Wells. I never had a class with her in my life. A Mike Kerr and Jerry Kerr and their father Jerry Kerr, and I don't know the mother's name, involved with insurance companies. People with the World Trade Center, investigators have been used criminally for an influence, tactically delusions, raw since their inception. Before that, New York City, you have sick people involved. These are New York City families that have been involved with campuses and drugs and mental diagnosis and putting fake things in databases. They've been doing it interstates. They have roles with more family members of and as leaders of the kids further involved. There were reports. I never had a conversation with either one of them. There are two women with the name O'Connor who are tied to the Weathersfield Police and medical families that have been making things up about me with people in my area. There's an Eric Klotz and neighbors of his are involved with some home break-ins with the Weathersfield Police, like with the Joe DeMoro and Heather Hansen. Also confessed roles with that. And the neighbor of the house there at the corner of Church Carriage Hill and Fairlane he said to my speech class when I had to take it again, when I had to go back, stay back and go another year to Weathersfield High School. He said to my class that that was his family, and that he was a partner of a Detective Dillon. Detective Dillon is increasingly involved with planting evidences on all sides of my house, increasingly with child offenders and with his family members and people tied to them. Has something to do with their roles all along. Two Route Highway and conjunctions to it. There's a what's his name? Rich Dombrowski. Fake ties, fake nature. He has roles of wire crimes. Called me on the phone. That's how I know it was true. I didn't tell him. He has roles of wire crimes of people and with the South Civiello and South Civiello's neighbors and people that live in the area involved with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso. And that's also recorded, confirmed, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed on Facebook. That's why they took away my Facebook pages. So they had confessions to me about roles with body dumping spots and things like that. They affected to me from strangers because I had to pretend I was tied to them. From before then, I was, because there were people that are tied to them involved with it. And then, like the people next to the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso are people like with the name Fianza who recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. He got federal evidence his crimes with that, and with people with the World Trade Center attack named Keene and other neighbors of theirs involved with federal evidence his crimes, identity theft, fraud, slanders against me. and behind my back, so I wouldn't be able to respond to it. They also, Dan Keene, pretended I signed up for or had roles with people that did that. Pretended I signed up to run against him for class president. I never even got to give a speech. That's the only reason I didn't say anything. In other words, you have people who can't speak except for unless they're fakes. That's why the only fakes speak. You guys can't follow mandated law. It's recorded. Mandated law, you don't change what people say and fake what you think. And you know, you follow mandated law. Give me a response for the principal child abuser's confessions, too. He brought up more names. Mike Levine is also brought up by him and other people who recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. Mike Levine has something to do with the Town Line Drive shopping center and names DeMorrow, and multiple families with the names DeMorrow, but a John DeMorrow also with the intelligence community when it used to be Caldor's. It's a Walmart. And there's the shopping center, not where it used to be a food mart. Now it's a stop and shop. There are managers of stop and shops involved with the intelligence community, like a Jamie Smith is one of the ones with the stop and shop at the end of the Brown Turnpike before the heart of Hartford. 3 spots at the end of the heart. The spots at the end of the Brown Turnpike have a whole bunch of people with federal evidences, crimes, identity theft, fraud, slander. And I don't know those people named Soto. They've been making things up about me with the ones with the judges and prosecutors' families, and the ones that were intimate ties to each other, and they use that to fake things about other people. And Ray Claw asked me a whole bunch of times in a row one time. I can't remember if he said sex or messed around with, or which one it was. I think it was Sandra Spada, and I said no. And I wouldn't want to say yes because the boy, I didn't say anything else either. I didn't tell them what I thought about them. Their neighbor, they have a neighbor that was reported murdered too. There's a Julie Mancuso. I never had the opportunity to meet her, but her neighbors also, there's a neighbor of a Spada family involved with Phil Cololo. Phil Cololo was one of the ones with Bob Chase, with Whiting Forensics, further involved with child offenders sexually, medically, and with evidence of identity theft, fraud, slanders, and people, lying about themselves and others with judges, family members, prosecutors, family members, overt criminal enterprises at the same time, and people tied to body double spots. That's recorded. They have roles with untimely deaths that brought up the principal child abuser's campus to me by a stranger from another area who made a confession on my street about that, Robert Rodriguez. He's also one of the ones all along Route 3 and next to religious spots who are involved with nutcakes at the religious spots too, originally still. You guys can't speak for the sciences or the religion insanely. You guys, the beginning of the Old Testament and the beginning of the Quran come with parts that dictate how to read the books. No one even knows about it because and it dictates too. Like if someone for any reason senses that there's the reason they shouldn't pray in a mosque or anything like that, they're not supposed to. If they don't want to wear a head wrap, they don't have to. All they have to do is be honest about if they're going to use the scientific value as a scientific value, the name of the hyper-simultaneous. Are they going to agree about the use of the name Allah or not? That's all. And it says to even love and care for the people who don't, as long as they're honest about that. See, we have dishonesty with people pretending to be about honesty. They never knew how to speak for the law. So follow mandated law for the television judges and the reporters. They WFSB, don't forget, they attached me to fake conversations with themselves and with others. So they put a whole bunch of federal evidences, crimes with the same short story because they had to hide life progressions because they grew up predicate acts with facts, needing to hide that, show needs to. These are ones personally and professionally involved with drugs and medicines crimes, with prosecutors and judges, family members, and with untimely deaths and murders roles, with federal evidences crimes roles. Yeah! Get them on paper, one name and sequence. Block my post.